Ring, ring, ring. Herald, please. Happy Monday. And welcome. No, I'm sorry.
Well, welcome back to Crown Scato Cave. Elsa's having a little bit of a laugh attack right now. She can't handle the introductions, but you know what? I would like to welcome you back to Crown Scato Cave. It's a nice Monday over here from Chicago, Illinois. A very overcast and dreary day. Unfortunately, hot as fuck, though, at the same time, which I absolutely hate. Anyways, we got very little to talk about on Bitcoin, so it's going to be a relatively fast video. But because the daily's going to be closing soon, perhaps we might be lucky enough to catch some price action. So with that said, I want to waste no more time. I want to wish you the best of the best, also the happiest as well as Elsa's. Hey, be careful over there. Jesus Christ. And let's get a live scene right here, right now. So press the button. And I'll see you in there, baby. And there she is. Bitcoin on the daily. Bitcoin on the good old daily on Stamp. And as it is right now, literally right where we fucking left it off during the morning's live stream, and really where we left it off for the last week and a half, actually, basically Bitcoin sideways action alongside all these major moving averages right here. This is the daily 21, the daily 55, and the red 10 simple, which are actually kind of setting up for a little bit of an interesting posture here, as if price action can close above just above the whole conglomeration of these guys today, then I imagine that we will actually see the red 10 simple get above the yellow 21, and the yellow 21 will be above the green 55, so they'll all have lower periods trade above higher periods, which would be a generally good thing, I suppose. But the thing is that we're really more or less just sideways at the end of the day. And anything more than that is all mental masturbation. Of course, the levels that we've been looking at for the past 48 hours have pretty much been unchanged. In fact, we saw yet again another attempt to kind of fuck around at this 10,300-ish level right here. You can see that this wick being bought up literally right at the last minute. The last couple of minutes, you saw a pump back up to this 10,300-ish region right here and closing it right above this horizontal support and also above, I believe, the 200, or sorry, we closed below the 200 simple and 200 and 55 exponential moving average on the 4-hour doodle time frame right here, but you know, again, still, this is the battle area, so to speak. And as long as Bitcoin kind of hovering around in this region, there's really nothing to be done as far as a trader is, you know, as far as trading is concerned, in my opinion, at least in the way that I do it, of course. Now, there's multiple ways to trade, no doubt about that. But at the end of the day, we are quite literally right on the precipice of this support right here, which if it does break, I would be looking for a move all the way down here towards this blue box territory. A pretty damn tradable move, in fact, all the way down towards about 9,750 to maybe even 9,800, somewhere in this region right here, maybe even a little bit lower. Overall, if we actually do break this to the downside, this whole formation, like the greater formation, the one that we've been working on for the past 2.5 months, is going to start to look pretty fucking nasty. So that is a major concern for the downside. But as long as we're kind of just, you know, moving sideways within this region, there's really nothing, you know, new, so to speak. And for the upside, I mean, the upside is you know, a little bit more delicate in a sense, right? Because just closing above this region right here does not just, you know, it just initiate upside. No, we really need to see a break outside of this trading range right here, which top side of this would be around 10,550-ish region, which is not at all that impressive. In fact, if we do actually even get back around there, it doesn't really do all that much for the greater picture, but for the lower time frames, you'd imagine that would actually give us the divergence that we're looking for between the green 55 and the purple 200, which I've been waiting for quite some time to have a resolution, to call resolution on this whole formation as I get everything else out of the way. There we go. So we have 3 moving averages on the table. We got the green 55, the purple 200, and the white 200 simple. By the way, I just want to address a very quick point, as I got a lot of questions because I was using the 55, you know, in the last week or so, and a lot of people are saying, you know, like you should be using the 50 instead of the 55 if you're going to be looking at the golden cross. At the end of the day, man, a five period difference on a low time frame like this is going to amount for very, very little difference in actual price action. Remember, we want to see the actual divergences or convergences between these moving averages, not just exactly where they are. And using a 55 is going to be a little bit more of a laggard compared to a 50. And the reason why I choose this right now is because when Bitcoin's essentially sideways like this, I don't want like a very small, minute move to present divergence in a way that I don't really think is appropriate. Now, this is, again, just personal preference. I mean, both of them are basically going to work in the same fucking way. I mean, at the end of the day, they're pretty much mostly the same. But as you can see right here, both these moving averages are basically lying on top of each other. So we really don't have anything like crazy to be talking about. And perhaps this could be the time that we actually see some girthy green dildos or just another $10 up. So very, very little actual action. But my point is that realistically, until we actually see divergences from these two moving averages, whether it be to the upside or the downside, we don't really have any sort of major resolution to even be governed from from a metric like this. So using this as my edge, as long as we're kind of stuck within this region, there's really not too much to do. If we break below this region right here, close another 4-hour diddle below about 10.3, likely do come down in this region right here. If we do work our way back up, not even the 200 simple is all that relevant in my opinion. It's this area right here, which is semi-relevant, and it's not even that important to begin with. Likely would give us the impetus though to actually get divergences between these moving averages and actually allow us to play out the golden cross. So here's the major thing, right? When we have moving averages kind of locked on top of each other like this and price action is just grinding sideways alongside of it, we see hunts to the upside, we see hunts to the downside, right? That tells us that the Boston algos actually are respecting this as a major, as a major event. And if we actually do initiate and do confirm a golden cross to the upside, I would be looking for some pretty massive price action. That's at the point in time where short term I'd be looking for a move back over to 11.5, maybe even 12,000, and longer term we'd probably see resolution to the upside of the greater formation. To the downside, obviously, 9,600 is going to be the short-term target, I suppose you could say, and then longer term, I mean, once we're back down around there again, it's in the danger zone once again. So I would say that it increases the probability that we actually break this to the downside. And if we do to the downside, I mean, it is quite nasty here. We are kind of at a pretty pivotal moment. In fact, we've been at a pretty pivotal moment for the past month and a half, but now it's actually pretty likely to break. I'd say sometime within by the end of this week or early next week. I do think that we actually get resolution out of this whole formation. Actually, I think it becomes extremely likely. But if we do resolve it to the downside, kind of getting ahead of myself right now, with a daily total close below this bottom support right here, also aligned with the 382 Fibonacci retracement right around about 94.50ish region, then technically we do have a measure move all the way down to about 66 to 6700 right here. Although I do believe that there would be bounces along the way and potentially even reversals along the way as well. 8900 would be the first obvious target in my opinion. Then we got the 200 exponential moving average right around 8500. Then we got the 200 simple right around about 75, 76. And then yes, if all those fail, then I'll be looking all the way down here towards 66 to 67ish region. But right now, even though it is a descending triangle, which is more likely to break out to the downside, statistically speaking, I've seen every pattern break out every goddamn which way. And I know I say this all the fucking time, but it's true. And at the end of the day, this is still a macro upturn right here for the past 6-7 months. So technically, the probabilities of breaking to the downside are diminished with that. And if we do break to the upside, technically with a break above and a daily total closure above this 11.4 pivot, also aligned with the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement, then that would actually initiate a measure move all the way towards 14,500. Although to the upside, it's more tricky. I wouldn't be willing to call resolution in the way that I look at resolution, even if we break this area right here. I need to see a higher high above this guy right here. That's what I need to see. Otherwise, potential hunt in Trap City for the bulls, as we've seen that happen in the past quite nastily. Anyways, Bitcoin getting picked up right now. So could this be the time that we actually do see some girthy green dildos? Fucking hell, man. Did I just get... Is this going to be the lucky time? Perhaps, maybe, maybe not. The waiting game continues once again. Anyways, it's like trying to get excited about some when realistically we're still just looking at flat sideways action. I need to take a sip of this water because I'm damn thirsty. So just 1 second. Ah, there we go. Actually, a little bit more green dildos right there, not bad. But more importantly, lower time frames are actually all aligned right now. So this is pretty interesting. So we're seeing this on the lower time frame, right? We spoke about this in the live stream this morning. We're seeing all the lower time frames actually agree with each other right here. 4-hour Stokes up and at them and actually getting out of the bearish control zone on the next tick. 3-hour Stokes never really crossed down. A bunch of fakes around here, but at the end of the day, still up. So we got the 4-hour and 3-hour on the same side coming from the same area. 2 hours still up, actually hinting across the downside, but weak nonetheless, no matter which way you look at it. And then what about the hourly? We see the hourly is actually looking for a fresh cross the upside. So the 2 hours, the odd man out. I would say that's if I am trying to if I'm trying to split hairs here, that's kind of what I'd be saying right now is that momentum oscillators we're starting to get that fall through. We spoke about this during the live stream this morning, and I think that if you're looking for the easy move predicated upon that, we kind of caught that when price action was like 10,250. Now price action's another $150 above, so I'd say that's if you're looking for the easy trade, that one already kind of played out. But could this be the impetus for actually breaking this whole formation to the upside? Well, maybe. I mean, again, it's I just think it's a little bit too I would really like to kind of scale everything back and and just look at the greater whole. Really, at the end of the day, looking at these lower time frames, it's fun, it's sexy, but doesn't get the job done. Especially when we're looking at literally 2.5 months, almost 3 months now of consolidation. Well, I'd say that's it kind of diminishes the the use case of that in a sense. It's just not as important as the higher time frames right now. And And anyways, I suppose what do I want to talk about next? Actually, let's do something that I haven't done in a while. Let's do the inverted chart right now. Let's see what the good old inverted chart looks like. The bias buster, as I like to call it. And looking at it right here, lower time frames actually do look a little bit more bearish, to be fair. You do see the 1 through 4 hour all looking like they're actually painting in a little bit of distribution in this region right here. Fair enough. That would be more bearish, obviously, and a clear and obvious major area to be aware of right around this 10-9 region right here. So that will be a major pivot going forwards. But of course, we're way far away from that area right now. It's not really a major consideration as you'd imagine. Anyways, I'm curious how the daily does look though on this view. And looking at the daily right here, what do you see? Still looks mostly, it looks like an ascending triangle is what it looks like. We're not getting anything of interest here, really. The thing is that when I see the lower time frame momentum oscillators align with the higher time frame momentum oscillators, that's typically when I do like to start to pick directions. And we do see daily Stochs actually looking like they want to cross the downside right here. So if we were to see that happen, if we're actually to see this play out, then that would also be one more tick on the bearish side. However, we are seeing bifurcation from the lower time frames, which implies that we probably still have some more sideways to go before we get actual real resolution. But like I said, I do believe that resolution is coming likely end of this week or sometime next week. And the reason why I say that and why I've been saying that for quite some time is that, well, at the end of the day, we are looking at one massive descending triangle with an apex in early October, which would put this thing extremely likely to break somewhere, about 75% around, filled of this triangular formation, which would be somewhere middle September now, which we're rapidly approaching. We're now in the 9th day of September, so Jesus Christ, man, this month is already flying by. So, at the end of the day, still kind of waiting around because unlikely that we actually get resolution before that. We also have economics. Let's actually flesh that out a little bit more. We also have volume signature right here, suggesting kind of the same thing. Apex coming in again early October. So we could probably get resolution somewhere right around here. It's just where it's statistically most likely to happen essentially. And of course, we look at historical volatility percentile. Same thing, right? It's still contracting off to a piss patter, and I'd imagine that somewhere right around here, again, middle of September, right around actually. This would be around the 23rd, 24th of September. That would likely, if we continue this regression line down, put us somewhere around where we kind of looked at in May, and that precipitated this massive breakout here from about 5,200 all the way to 9,000. And the one before that we actually got this low was all the way back on over here in March at around 3,900 before the massive bull explosion to the upside there. So all these things kind of align with each other. Not only that, but we do have economic events coming into the square as well. We have the U.S. Fed meeting to discuss interest rates. I believe it is either late this week or early next week. I was completely wrong about the date earlier this morning. It is not the 15th. It's the 18th and the 20-somethings, early 20s. But the 18th is certainly a date. So I would be looking for some price action to likely kind of be surrounding that area, just because Bitcoin has shown in the past that it actually does like to play off the interest rates. There does seem to be some sort of interplay with that, and just the general kind of rule would be interest rates going up. Well, that would be bad, interest rates going up, that would be bad for Bitcoin. Interest rates going down, that would likely be good for Bitcoin. Just interest rates going down essentially means that you get less money for putting your money into a bank, or quite literally in some countries you have a negative rate where you pay money to put money in a bank. Kind of fucked up, but fair enough. And at the end, for that, you'd imagine that kind of causes people's minds to switch on and say, oh, well, I'm quite literally losing money even just by not doing anything. And there's forces outside of my control that can cause that. What could I do that would put me in a better position? Well, coming back to the discussion of taking responsibilities we had during this morning, well, Bitcoin could perhaps be a solution for that. Gold could perhaps be a solution for that. Silver could perhaps be a solution for that. Now, I think that's kind of like the whole war that's going to go on in the next, a few decades maybe, where we see, where we see a fight over the store of value essentially. What's up, Cyril? Is it Cyril? Hopefully that's right, man. Good to meet you, man, and welcome to the cave. So yeah. That's kind of why I think that's more or less, we can do all of the mental masturbation that we want to do right now in the lower time frames. It's great. It's fun to do. But at the end of the day, man, we're probably not going to see resolution until probably later this week or sometime next week is really where I'll be looking towards. So still some sideways action in order. And, other than that, really nothing's too much changed. If you want the more long-term historical view, definitely go check out my video that I uploaded yesterday in the long-term analysis playlist that I always do on Sunday. That'll go into all the fundamentals, all of the long-term analysis with tentacles as well, and I won't be doing that during this video right here. I'm going to keep this one a little bit on the shorter side. Anyways, do I want to go over all the 4-hour stuff? No, not really. Well, I suppose we can do it. This video is going to be on the shorter side anyways, so not a huge deal. It's already 14. Oh my god, it's already 15 minutes long. What the actual fuck? But I really haven't said like all that much yet. I mean, Jesus Christ. It's just fucking insanity, man. Anyways, let me just scroll on back. So what I'm looking for, okay, so let's actually discuss exactly what I'm looking for if, say, we were to break to the upside using the 4-hour moving averages and kind of how I'd judge this next major trade and kind of what I'm getting excited for or potentially excited for, what I'm looking for essentially. And we've seen Bitcoin, I'm going back to end of 2015, 2016 region, where Bitcoin's in a macro uptrend, and we see this very, very lovely interplay between the green 50, 55, the purple 200, and the white 200 simple. Sorry, the colored ones are exponential. So shouldn't say colored, but you know what I mean. Sorry. Anyways, we get the golden cross running over here. We see both the exponentials above the white 200 simple. Boom, momentum is gained. I mean, this is a pretty phenomenal run. About 100% done over the course of a couple months, it looks like, and just absolute absolute destruction for the bearish bungholes as they get skewered on the bullish dildos right there. Anyways, after that, we get a very lovely interplay that each and every time we put in a higher about 100% above, then we do kind of a nice cool off session, if you want to call it that, where we go sideways for a little bit of time, as you can see right here, get the death cross, get the golden cross about usually around 2 weeks later, and then once we get the 2 golden cross moving averages above the white 200 simple and they remain above there, that's when the momentum actually does, well, really get going to the upside. This one producing another 100% gainer over the course of 124 days. Then we get another death cross, golden cross gets above the white 200 simple, and momentum is had all the way to this next peak, another 100% higher. Pretty damn good. Then we get this next one right here, death cross, golden cross, takes about a week and a half, and what happens after that, we get about a 50% gain. So still pretty fucking good, but it is an outlier to the downside. Then death cross, golden cross, both the moving averages get above the white 200 simple, and this one never even really comes back down to test. Actually, this one just straight to the moon, 170% to the upside over the course of 66 days, not bad. And then same thing right here, death cross, golden cross, about a week and a half away, and then boom, another 100% gainer done over the course of 43 days. So they're actually getting more intense as time transpires, funnily enough. Maybe not funnily enough, but again, what we're looking for is the exponentials in golden cross formation above the white 200 simple, and that's when the actual momentous plays do happen. As you can see right here, the first major if I go back to the first major one that we saw, I'm not going to go through them all right now, but you can if you'd like to take my word for it, they're about on average 100% gain over the course of 3 to 4 months. Anyways, so if we go after this first one right here, right, where we do see that once we get the death cross, golden cross right here, we spend a lot of time actually fucking around with getting the exponentials above and below the white 200 simple, and it's not until we really actually get some severe price action away from these guys where they can really get that divergence for the next major trending move. So that's essentially what I'm looking for right now for the greater picture if this is to be. Right now, we see both the green and the purple well below the white 200 simple, as you can see. So there's no real major threat of immediate upside like this fucking moment for a massive trending move to 15,000, 16,000, whatever it ends up being, right? Still need to see that at the very least before I'm really looking to get into position. Although I do have a little bit of position right now. In fact, I don't even have my Deribit open. Let me just bring it up, open my other screen. I suppose I should do this for transparency, although nothing's really changed here. So do I have options? Yeah, I certainly do have options positions open on my streamer account. Actually, not a bad position right here. Okay, cool. So bringing it over right here, I'm actually short just about every strike, but that's because, well, I basically have a spot underlying long position. 10 of the 10,000 strikes, 10 500 20 of the 10 500 strikes, and then 20 of the 11,000 strike. Running a P&L of about 1 Bitcoin right now, mostly gotten in the last couple days. If we go back to my spot positions, you can see that I'm long basically from a little bit under our current area right now. Long about 500,000 or about 50 Bitcoins right now. So for me, keep in mind that this is, this is actually a little bit bigger of a position than I really wanted to have in this region. But the reason why I did it is because coming into last week, if you remember, I had a position, I was long out of this region right here for this pop up, right? Then we put in this formation right here. I was targeting a little bit higher, but unfortunately we actually violated my kind of like risk management error, if you want to call it that, right here. I closed that first long position, then I shorted all of those call strikes that you just saw, which are now decaying and producing a P&L of about 1 Bitcoin. And then once we came down to this area right here, a little bit below the green 55, actually did end up buying a little bit more spot back or those December futures. I kind of look at them and was as one and the same in the way that I use them. And then what I've done since then, I've actually just covered about, I've covered about a quarter of them on those 10,000 strikes. So if we do break lower, all I'll do is I'll just short some more $10,000 strike calls, and then I'll get rid of that December futures position. Basically take probably end up taking a loss on that one, as it's going to be too close to, I'd probably have to end up taking an actual loss on those ones, but that's okay. Again, that's part of the game. And of course, with this last game that we had running over here, well, that can pay for it. And more importantly, the short calls, those actually make it so that I pretty much would have been in profit the whole way anyways. So that's the beauty of options, just giving you, again, options to fucking manage things with. So to me, I'm pretty agnostic with the way that we break this one. I would appreciate it if we did break to the upside. It just makes my life easier. But hey, at the end of the day, man, traders gonna fucking trade. I just wish that we'd have like some actual opportunistic, trending moves once again. That's well, I mean, when that's not happening, that's the time to really be playing options. But right now, it's just like looking at fucking paint drying. So. Again, kind of to wrap it up, and I think I'll start to, I would actually like to really make this video a lot shorter. Let's actually first look at CMEs. How are CMEs doing today? CMEs did get the closure on the day. Let me put back on all major moving averages, and let's see. Okay, so we did close below the yellow 21. Not anything too crazy here though. Did fill the gap from 1st of September. Daily Stochs still very much up. Daily RSI holding up above the exponential. I kind of like that read right there. I actually kind of like what I see on CMEs. For a little bit of a test of the upside. Historical volatility percentile still contracting as you'd expect. What about 12-hour? Just out of curiosity, maybe put in a little bit of a local low right here, although if we do trade anywhere below 10 to 25, and this is almost at parity right now, then I'll be looking for another move back down here towards about 9,700, give or take a few bucks. So that's what I'd be looking at right there. But it looks like the 12-hour wants to regain the exponential as well. I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing from CMEs, in fact. What sets me off, though, is the weekly. The weekly I do not like. I would be very bearish based off the weekly. And same thing with spot. Spot closed below the red 10 simple. I don't like that. It's not a death sentence in and of itself, but the second that we take out, last week's low at 97.50, I do think that we're going to have a resolution on the whole formation to the downside. We're going to likely come down well below 9,000. So that's kind of what's at stake right now. But hey, it's not over until it's over. And of course, in this region right now, technically we also do have some good hidden bullish divergence going on right here between this point and this point on weekly RSI. Usually that's going to be good enough to get you to the top side of the range. In this case, that would be 11.5. But right now, not so confident in that read to be quite straightforwards. Anyways, what else do we want to look at? Do we have the 3-day closing today? I think that we do. Yes, we do. So we do have the 3-day closing today. If we can close above all major moving averages here, I suppose that would be a little bit more on, mostly sideways is what it's going to be. But a little bit more on the bull side, I suppose. It would be a little bit of a doji dodo. On these guys, we're really fucking grasping at straws right now. What I want to see though is the next tick on the 3-day Stochs. Do these actually curl around to the upside, or do they fall apart to the downside? To me, it looks like they want to curl to the upside. But what does also kind of set me off a little bit is 3 days RSI right here, which did have a nice falling pizza in it, but I do believe that this looks like a failure. It actually looks like a failure to me with the way that we got rejected at the exponential on the first tick. You really don't want to see that. You want to see a nice, girthy, powerful tick above there and then fall through almost immediately, and we don't have that right here. So I would say that this is, this is certainly diminished right there as well. Anyways, taking these babies back off and going back into the price action. Now my chart's all convoluted, so we really not too much to make out of this. If we do close above the red 10 symbol, which is 10.3, I suppose it'd be a little bit more on the side of the bulls. We'd still be above all major moving averages. Hard to be bearish when you're like that, but again, this is the time that if you don't already have a position, there's no dishonor in not having a position. I mean, you can be the person, you can be the mercenary on the fucking sideline just waiting for resolution of this triangle, and then pick the winning side, man. I mean, it's completely valid, completely fair. If you do want to be a little more cavalier with your trading, then yeah, you can trade in this region here. I mean, there is a trade to be made here. It's just you can't hold on to the trade if it goes the other way. That's the problem with it. If this move, if we break to the downside or the upside, it's likely to be unforgiving to you if you're on the wrong side. So make sure that your risk management is in order. Of course, it's not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but again, Bitcoin more or less sideways right here. I don't really have too much to add from this morning's live stream video. In fact, I'm actually heavily considering stopping the evening videos, but I'll probably keep them around for a little bit longer. It's a lot more appropriate when there's a lot of price action, but lately it's just been sideways, man. Which does mean that we're probably getting ready to actually move once again. Which then it's gonna be fun to do these ones. Then it's gonna be then we're gonna have more to talk about, right? Which is what makes it fun. Anyways, looking at this right here. And wrapping this up, let's go back on over to BitMexico. Pretty much the same where I left off this morning, right? Horizontal right here, 10,300. That still seems to be the area of action. We see all major moving averages on just about every time frame. Not only the golden cross moving averages on the 4 hour, which I'm intently watching, but if we go to the 12 hour, where are they all coming in? Right here. What about the daily? They're all coming in right here. What about the 2 day? They're all coming in again right here at 10.3. I should actually call it the number. And 3 day, same thing right here. 10.3 is where they're all coming in around. So again, until we actually see this break to the downside, don't really have resolution to call. If we do break to the downside, I'd be targeting a move at the very least down here towards about 98 to 97, and then probably just hits the low side of the range after that. Anyways, if Bitcoin comes back down to the low side, I actually don't think that this is going to hold up again. You might see another another small anemic bounce, but I wouldn't trust it. I would really not like to see things come back down here for the bulls. If they come back down here for the bulls, you're going to see me flip around to be mostly bearish and looking actually for a short, most likely. Probably end up doing with options just because it's easier here. But if we come back down to this region right here, I do think it'd be very appropriate to start looking for shorts once again. But for right now, okay. Anyways, to the upside, it's a little bit more tricky. Even if Bitcoin does clear this 10,550-ish region right here, that'd be a start. But I really want to see divergences between these moving averages right here. I want to see momentum being gained is what I want to see. That's what's predicating this trade. So, until I actually see something like that, it's more or less just waiting. I do think that we probably end up waiting towards end of week, early next week. So, something like that kind of makes sense. Is there anything else that I want to mention here? I think that's probably it for now. We do see historical volatility percentile on just about all lower time frames as well at a standstill. I mean, Jesus Christ, look at this. Look at that. This is your 4 hour. This is your 6 hour. Extremely low. 8 hour. Extremely low. 10 hour. Extremely low. 12 hour. Extremely low. So we are really tightening up here. The next move will, like I said, will be unforgiving. It will be extremely violent. Probably going to be one of those quick $1,000 dildos, like a Soros dildo. So, hold on to your fucking dick soon. Anyways, a lot of bifurcation between all the higher time frames and lower time frames right now, mostly sideways until we see one of the major levels hit, until we see one of the major levels broken. Not really too much new to be talking about there. I suppose we could look at GBTC as well before we go. Let's go right on over here. And then I forgot to look at Bitcoin dominance. GBTC looks like it came down to fill the gap right here. Not bad. Probably bounces a little bit. We see daily Stokes and a little bit more of a bullish posture. I like that. Daily RSI bearish actually. Daily historical volatility percentile looks like it's ready to fucking blow. Again, not really getting too much unique information off this. I'm curious if the Bitcoin dominance chart is, I think we said low time frames probably bouncing and higher time frames probably a little bit further down. Yeah, I'd still hold on to that. Looks like we already got the, do I think that we bounce? I think that we probably bounce a little bit more, probably back up to like 72 and a half region. Sorry, 72 and a half. We're already like at 72. But a little bit more medium term, I do think that we come further down. And so alts in the short term probably get hurt like a little bit. Medium term, they probably actually go up. They probably actually go up a bit. And longer term, I'd still be bullish on this. Remember, the higher time frames are still very much bullish. Weekly, phenomenal. Monthly, phenomenal. I mean, these look good to me is what they look like. Monthly 55 might be for me being front ran here. That's fine. But overall, longer term, I'd still be bullish. Shorter term probably does allow alts to bounce around a little bit. I'm going to imagine that Cardano is hitting our 450 target. 450 target hit, not bad. And I do think that we probably get, I think that we probably pull back from here a little bit and then get another try higher, most likely more medium terms, I suppose you could say. Curious what Mr. Beater and Mrs. Litecoin look like. Maybe we'll see something different in there that could tip us off to Bitcoin's movements. I want to see Mr. Buterin close above this yellow 21, 182.5. If we could see that, I'd probably be looking for continuation. Continuation likely up to 195 to 200ish region. Mrs. Litecoin, what's she looking like right here? Again, same thing. If we get her closing above the yellow 21 at 70 and 3/4, essentially, be looking for a short-term move to 75.5 and a little bit more medium-term back up here, actually towards $80. Again, it looks. I mean, Mr. Buterin and Mrs. Litecoin basically in the exact same posturing. So I'd imagine that whichever way they break, and they look a little bit more like they want to move here, we probably see Bitcoin actually follow them. And these ones look a little bit more obvious. If you are looking at this as a trend line right here, you do see that Mrs. Litecoin is right at the edge of the trend line, also synonymous with the yellow 21. Fair enough. If it does fall back down to the downside here at $63, well, back in the danger zone once again. If that does break to the downside, be looking for a move down to a $50 region. Mr. Buterin, same sort of trend line here. In fact, Mr. Buterin already kind of broke it to the upside, to be fair. Technically, this does have a measure move all the way up towards 260. I don't put that much weight on a measure move like that. Like I said, if we break this area right here, if we close the daily doodle above 182.5, 183, I'll be looking for a short-term move 205, medium-term move 235, and then maybe 260 does get hit over time. But again, all these guys are wound up right now, and I'd expect most of the market to move in the same direction. So if we do get these good closes on these assets, then I'd probably be looking for Bitcoin to follow through as well. I say that they look a little bit more on the healthier side. Healthy is not the right word to describe one of those things. They're not on the fucking healthier side. But what they do look like is they probably want to have they look like they want to try some upside here. Weekly on SPY, I forgot to talk about traditional markets this morning. I do think that we actually have a pullback. It's probably to start the week. We already got a pullback to 297. I do think that we end up pulling back a little bit more, back down to 294. But unfortunately, not unfortunately, but have to be bullish as long as we're above 294.25. Weekly looks okay. I'm still I'm still a little bit thrown off here that we didn't get that 275 take. Although, again, the market doesn't need to do what I'm talking about. It's just that would have made things so much more easy. So I don't know if I'm ready to call, full on bull until we actually really get a new high, actually about above 302.25. But I do think short term we have a move down towards like 295, 295.5. That probably gets picked up though. And I guess after that it'd be short-term bullish if that happens. But yes, if we do break like 294 to the downside, then perhaps we finally do get this tick right here, and this just all becomes a phenomenal bull trap, which would be absolutely devastating. But fair enough, man. Fair enough. That's exactly what it's for, man. If they're not devastating, there's no fucking point. Anyways, back on to Bitcoin, and time to wrap this bitch up. I think we already kind of said most of the things. To the downside, 10,300 to close the 4-hour doodle below there, and likely I would be looking targeting a move down towards here, and that brings us once again into the danger zone for Bitcoin. 10,550 to the upside, although that really doesn't do all that much for me. Need to see divergences between the green and the purple, and I'd love to see them get above the white trend simple. And you do see these guys converging on each other, so a little bit more on the positive side, I suppose, but still mostly going to be sideways here. Anyways, that's going to do it for right now. I do want to wish you well. I'll be back on tomorrow with some more live stream analysis. Take care and see you soon.